So I would like to introduce him, and then I'll turn the stage time over to him and the Kiyojute Ryu Kempo group. And I'll let him explain that group to you and the martial arts that they're going to demonstrate for you. Chip, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having us. It's great to be here today, and thank you very much for inviting us. I really do appreciate it. What you are going to see here over the next half an hour is a demonstration of Kiyojute Ryu Kempo. And the system that we are demonstrating is a system that is deeply rooted in the traditional martial arts, that is very concerned with self-defense. Not with sport, but with self-defense. So what you'll see are freestyle kata, visualized kata. You will see what are called embu, and you'll see basically techniques that would work in a self-defense situation, and a lot of cool weapons too. So it's our pleasure to be here today. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy it. This first kata is going to come to us from Adam. Everybody give Adam a round. Come on. And this is what's called a Shoge Tuitsu Kempo, which means that basically anything goes. Here we go. And mate. Yeah. So one of the really important principles that we demonstrate in our kata is that anything that we can do, we can analyze and use in an actual self-defense situation. So there's nothing that is unneeded, nothing that is overdone. Next we'll have Micah come up. And Micah is going to demonstrate for us. Yeah, go ahead and give Micah a round. Micah is going to demonstrate for us a hard fist kata, which is a kata that originates from Okinawa. And mate. Now I'm going to turn the mic over to Micah for a moment. Yeah. And what I'll be demonstrating for you next is what's called an Aiki Jujutsu, or an Aiki kata. One of the interesting things about Aiki Jujutsu, which is the predecessor to Aikido, is that it was originally designed as a battlefield self-defense system. So for instance, you can imagine as the art of battle got deeper and deeper, and the common soldier started wearing more and more armor, where if I used a strike of some kind, or a kick, I can't really get to him too effectively. And so instead of using strikes and kicks, punches, and so on, the counter joints were starting to develop, which is basically manipulations of the joints of the body. And the reason was simple, because the armor would be divided at the joints. So while I might not be able to punch this guy or stop him from trying to hurt me, I can very easily break an elbow or a wrist or so on. So what I'm about to do is a kata showing the usage of that.
Mate.
one of the very common questions that we get when we teach self-defense is, well, would this stuff really work? I'm not sure. I weigh 100 pounds. The guy's attacking me, he's 300 pounds. Well, that's what this stuff was designed for. So, yes, it does work, but practice, right? So, now, up here we actually have a few sheets that just tell about the system that we're demonstrating, as well as availability if anyone wants to ask about it, participate in it. So please feel free to come up at any time and grab those, and we welcome any questions on it. Next, what we're going to do is a demonstration of embu. Now, embu was the way that two partners would practice in a very safe way. So we're talking about predating sport. They would practice in a very safe way where the focus could be maintained of any technique, of a throw, of a punch, of a kick, of a joint lock. The focus could be maintained without harm to the partner. So both of us could practice safely, and of course practice for until we're 100. Okay? So what we have are two people who will start to do an embu. And we'll have Adam and Tristan, why don't you do this one? Give it up for them. One thing you'll notice when we start the embu is that one person is what's called an uke, or a person who is receiving the attack. And the other person is what's called a tore, or the person who is initiating the attack. In our system, we are constantly training to not start any kind of violence. We don't start fights. The idea is, if they come to us, if we've done everything in our power to not get into an altercation, then we have to be able to defend ourselves in some way, our loved ones, and so on. So we are always on the receiving embu. And mate. So something you'll notice in the practice of the embu that you just saw was that the techniques that we train with, for instance, let's take a reverse punch, which is simply this action, okay? Probably everyone's seen this in a movie or something. If you're not that familiar with martial arts, you've seen it probably. Doing embu, come a little closer. I can, because he is waiting for me to practice that, I can, through my focus and concentration, do that punch and stop 1 to 2 inches from his body without doing any damage to him. He's my friend. I don't want to hurt him. I want to train with him so we can help each other. By that same focus and concentration, I can just as easily put that punch 2 inches inside him, 2 inches behind him, and so on. It's the focus of the mind to the body that's all important in this training. So what you saw there with each technique that they did, you saw what could have been a deadly attack, or a deadly strike, or a deadly kick, and so on. I think you get the idea. Next we'll have Adam and Micah. All right, where's that applause? And we will see embu once again. and mate. And I've got to get on this too, man. I have to do one. Hey, Tristan, why don't you come up?
Yeah.